Welcome back, guys. And we're here once again in another 12-minute classroom, and we'll see how many more operational commands we can accomplish tonight. Uh, Looking at the ones that we will be discussing, let's see if we can make 5 within 12 minutes, just like last time. So let's go into the classroom and then we'll get right into it. All right, so 12 minutes, here we go. Okay, so after trim and extend, the next version of the command would be the next command that we'll be talking about is called stretch. Now, stretch is a very deceitful command, really, because for example, if you have a line here and you command stretch on it, which is invoked by S, and then it asks you here to select an object. If you select this line and then you commit it, when you try to identify the first and second point, it moves the object, but this is not what stretch is actually all about. Now, how stretch works is it looks at the endpoints of whatever you actually select, and following this command, you should understand that there are different modes of selection within AutoCAD, and it's denoted by the colors that the selection box becomes. So for example, if I'm selecting towards the left, you can see that it turns green. Toward the right, it turns blue. Okay, what this means is if it is green, it's gonna select everything that it hits, the entire entity that it hits. So for example, like right now, we have 3 entities here, the line, the box, and the triangle. And if we select to the left and we hit a little bit of the box and the triangle, and we drop our mouse here, we are able to select all of them. But if we're selecting to the right, for example, if we start here and then go all the way over here, we will only be able to select the line. Why is that? Because the line is the only thing that is within this box, completely within this box. So that's the two selection modes. Okay, so stretch works by using the endpoints that will be hit by this box that we create. So the only effective way to use stretch is by selecting to the left. So for example, we invoke the command again, stretch, and then we select here. We will be able to select this object, but more specifically, this endpoint. And then we commit the command. Now stretch works differently. So when we select the first point there and then move it here, only the endpoint becomes translated, and that is actually how stretching works. So to visualize it better, we will stretch this part of the house here by invoking that same command again and then hitting only these endpoints. So only these 3 endpoints will be translated like that. Pretty cool, right? It's a very important, simple, but very important command that you will definitely see use of while CADing. All right, that's a whole 4 minutes. Crazy. Next, we have the lengthen command. The lengthen command requires identifying an actual length. This is not a very visual command, so you will probably not see much use of it, but we will see what it does anyway. So for example, the lengthen command is len for lengthen. Select an object to measure or identify the percentage, total, or dynamic. Let's choose this object, and then it shows you over here that the current length is at 190 units. So what now do we want? We want this to be, let's say we want it doubled. We'll put it to 380. Right. So we will select this, lengthen to 380. Oh, there we go. So how much percentage we want? 200%. It lengthens it that way. 200% becomes 2 times. And you can uh, like copy and offset. It's a continuous command, so you can just keep lengthening it out if you want it. Not particularly useful, but there is that function if you wanted to use it. Now we have the align command. So what is the practical use of the align command? The align command allows us to actually translate an object with references. So for example, this entity, this triangle, we want to align this segment here to this long line here. So we will use the align command to do that, because while we can do rotations and then uh, eyeball it, it's not really a very efficient way of matching it up. It's bound to have some error like that. So what we want to be doing is using the align command. So for purposes of this, we will align instead this shorter segment here. So align command is we select an object first. So this is the object that we want to align. And then invoke the align command. And then it asks us what is the first point. And then normally you choose it on the object that you want to align. And then specify the first destination point. So where it's gonna go. So we want to go here. And then we specify the next point, and then we want it to go. It can go anywhere. It will reference the first point as the main pivot. And even if you put this very close, it's still gonna lie in the same plane. So it's just gonna follow the plane. Even if I put it over way over here, it's not gonna go there. It's still gonna use the first reference over here. So let's try it. And then that's okay. While we can specify a third point, we don't really need to, because we're working right now just in 2 planes, X and Y. So we will skip it by pressing the space bar, saying continue, and then it's asking us if we want to scale the objects based on the alignment points. Normally, it's defaulted at N, so we don't want to do that, but you can if you wanted to. So we just press space again, and then we can see that the alignment happened over there. That was just a reference line that shows us what happened. So we have the same size of the object, but it's now perfectly aligned with this uh, diagonal line. So this one is also a very important command that you will see plenty of use in drawing. And then what is this one? Uh, it says here it's a break command, but let's skip that for now and then go on over to divide. Break, you probably will never use it. So divide allows us to ultimately subdivide a segment into uh, how many sections that we want it to be, and then it shows those sections through points. So right now, let's uh, recreate this segment here and then move that out of the way. And then we want it to be split, let's say, into 5 sections. So you want to be selecting the entity you want and then invoking divide, div. Okay, so actually divide wants to be the first, you first invoke the command and then you select the object. So you want to divide this into 5 segments. So we enter the number 5 and then commit. What happens? Nothing happened. No, actually something did happen. So let's adjust the display of the points into process so we will better see them. So as you can see here, the line has indicated division lengths. It's not actually divided the line. It just created guides for you. And so if we move this out of the way, you can see that the division are marked on our drawing. And we can even do this with fully enclosed items like this one, but it will divide across the entire perimeter. For example, we want to divide this into 10 equal segments. So once again, we do divide, select it, and say 10. So it shows us equal segments all over the object. So I think that's all the time we have for now. The timer's counting down from 5 seconds. That's our 12 minutes for tonight. And I hope you got some very, very good commands out of it. So let's recap. What we discussed here was stretch, which allows us to move a part of a drawn entity like that. We have lengthen, which allows us to extend based on a total value or a percentage value, many other options over there. And then we had align, which allows us to put an entity along the same plane if you wanted, because sometimes you need this, especially for when you're working with plans that are not rectangular in nature. And then we have divide, which gave us these points here. So there you have it. That's our 12 minutes. Our 12 minutes are up. And then I will see you next week, most probably. Take care, guys. Good night.